We're going to look in this video at how we can change the subject of the formula. So in this example it says make x the subject of the following. Now our answer will be when you have 1x is equal to some expression, and in this case they're all going to be algebraic expressions, but it could be, in reality it could be a mixture of algebraic and numerical terms, but all of ours are going to be letters, so they're all going to be algebraic terms. Now we're going to, in these questions, what we want to do is we want to think about what is actually happening to the x. So in each case we want to think, in every line you want to think what is happening to the x, and as we go further on we also want to be considering what is the order of which things are happening to the x. So in our first one is just a one-step equation. So x and what is happening to it is we are adding a. So that's all that is happening to it. So if we were to reverse that process, the opposite of adding a is clearly subtracting a. So when that a goes across, it becomes a minus a. So x equals b minus a is your answer for the first one. In the second one, part B, we have ax equals b. So what this a is doing to the x, so what's happening to the x is it's being multiplied by a. The opposite of multiplying by a is dividing by a. So you could write x equals b divided by a. So when the a comes across, it divides. But it is much better to write x equals b over a as a fraction. So I really would prefer you writing it x equals b over a. Okay, example C, similar to the last one. You've got x over a, but this time your a is on the bottom line, which means a, instead of multiplying as it was in the last example, a is dividing. Now the opposite of dividing by a is multiplying by a, so you can have x equals a times b. And in algebra, we don't really write that with the times sign. We've just pushed those letters together, so x equals ab. Example D, we're on to the slightly trickier ones. Here we have to also, these are two-step equation, so as well as considering what the letters are doing to x, we have to consider what order in which they are happening. So the first thing here that's happening, we've got ax minus b. So the first thing is your x is being multiplied by a. Then we are taking away a b. So the last thing we did was taking away b, so that is the first thing we reverse. So that b is going to go across the other side. It was minus b, goes across. The opposite of taking away b is adding b. And your ax stays where it is. So nothing has happened to your ax. So it stays where it is. And still you have a in front of the x. We look again at our equation. So this first line, this red line, we have ax equals c plus b. So what is this a doing to x? It is multiplying. So the opposite of multiplying by a is dividing. So c plus b all over a. And I like to use a really nice horizontal line here just to show that the whole right-hand side, c plus b, is all being divided by a. So that's very clear to the examiner, so the person marking your work, that you know that c plus b is all being divided by a. In E, similar example, slightly different just. Here we have x over a plus b equals c. So the first thing that's happening to my x is it is being divided by a. The next thing is we are adding b. So the last thing we did there was add b. So we'll leave our x over a where it is. And the opposite of adding b, remember, is taking away b. And then our last step, you have got your x is being divided by a. The opposite of dividing by a is multiplying across by a. So you need this bracket. Without the bracket, it's going to be incorrect. So this bracket shows you that the a was multiplying everything that was on the right-hand side. So your answer, and it's fine to leave it as this, x is equal to a upon c minus b. So just again, that a, you need that bracket because that bracket tells you that a is multiplying the whole thing, the c minus b. Okay, our last example is what's called a three-step equation. Here we have got ax minus b all over c. So the first thing that's happening is your x is being multiplied by a. The next thing is you're taking away b. And the last thing, you're dividing by c. So the last thing we did was divide by c. So that's the first thing we reverse. So ax minus b is equal to c times d. And c times d, you can write that as cd. Now let's look at this line again, just talk through what we've got. You've got ax minus b. That means a is multiplying x, then you're taking away b. So the last thing you did was take away b, so that's the first thing you reverse. So ax equals cd plus b. And let's look again at what we've got. We have got a multiplying our x. So the opposite of multiplying by my a is dividing by a, so cd plus b all over a. And that is as good as we can go in that question.